Yeah, welcome back to Belmont Park. Coming up on the 7th race here, a sprint at 6 furlongs. You need to hurry, too. You got 16 minutes to get in on the Citgo Pick 6. Starts with race number 7 here at Belmont Park. ESPN is printing and giving away money. A little disappointing to some people that this field wasn't a little bit bigger, Randy. A 6-horse field. It kept dwindling down. There were some others who dropped out late. But even though it is 6, still pretty rich field. A lot of contenders.
Yeah, quality 4 horses in the 6. I mean, other than the obvious funny side, the horse everybody's here to talk about, the Empire Maker, and you've got 10 Most Wanted. We just heard from Wally Delassie, who's a good horse. I mean, he got a lot of support at the Kentucky Derby. Scrimshaw, the horse of Dwayne Lucas's funny side. I mean, Dynaver, the horse coming from off the pace. So
we've mentioned him in brief. Now we see him in full. Meet them one at a time. And breaking from the 1, Empire Maker, Jerry Bailey, and these guys, Franklin Bailey, are as confident as they were before the Kentucky Derby. In a weird way, almost more confident. They almost sound like they're the ones who won the first 2 races.
And there is Empire Maker in a funny side type moment. Funny Side won the Preakness by 9+. Well, Empire Maker won the Florida Derby by 9+. And he also has proven that he can handle an off racetrack.
Supervisors should not run with blinkers, but should run with a blindfold. It was 12-1 last check, but there's not a shot in the world it should be 12-1. Maybe 120-1.
It was 50-1 in the program line. He'll probably drift up from that. 2 for 15 lifetime, but owner Rodney Lundock wanted to have a Belmont Stakes starter. Linda Rice said okay, and he was 3rd in the Peter Pan on a sloppy racetrack.
Breaking from the 3, Scrimshaw. This is one of those deals, the Lewises and Lucas, and you overlook them, Gary Stevens, and all of a sudden they show up and win the race.
Kind of eerily similar to Commendable that won the Belmont Stakes wire to wire at a big price a few years ago. Scrimshaw expected to be out there early along with Funny Side, but remember, he was beaten 10.5 lengths by Funny Side in Baltimore.
Funny Side, you would argue, is favored a little bit because of these new conditions that are now sloppy?
I think that the sloppy track certainly helps his chances because he's been over it before and because he is a speed horse. He'll be up there early, as you put it, kicking dirt, kicking mud in some of the come from behinders faces, and all he's got to do is just hold form. So if he has anything that actually works to his advantage, obviously it makes him even tougher to beat.
Dynaver is the one a lot of people are in love with for what little he's done. The numbers aren't quite as good, the speed figures, but the way he's done it, like in the Lone Star Derby.
This is the kind of horse that you really can't define by speed figures because he does things like this in the Lone Star Derby. Trapped not only from mid-stretch, but also from way up around the turn. And when he finally got out, he just motored past horses, seemingly effortlessly. Dynaver, though, has never been on an off-race track and has never faced horses anywhere near this caliber.
10 Most Wanted, we just heard from the trainer, Pat Days, the jockey. He now travels with a full-time masseuse for that back issue.
Yeah, you could kind of see in the stretch run of the Kentucky Derby, his spine was maybe a little bit crooked there. 10 Most Wanted, 9th in that race, defeated by almost 8 lengths. But before that, his Illinois Derby win was very impressive in a big figure that would make him competitive with the best horses in this race.
Well, in yesterday's racing on ESPN2, we were talking to track announcer Tom Durkin how big this track is, 1.5 miles around, so unusual. They built it so big also, I think, to house bingo. I think that was the key thing. But you have a little comparison to show us as to how it compares to the other Triple Crown races.
Yeah, but people sometimes, I think, don't understand exactly how vast and expansive Belmont Park is. Well, first take a look at Churchill Downs, the home of the Kentucky Derby in Louisville, Kentucky. Churchill Downs is a 1-mile racetrack, meaning that from start to finish, exactly 1 mile in circumference. But you stack Churchill Downs up with Belmont Park, and look what happens. There's Belmont, 1.5 miles in circumference. You can fit Churchill Downs not only inside Belmont's track, but inside of both of Belmont's turf courses. So as Durkin explained, they wanted to make Belmont Park so big to make it a European type track, to give it that kind of feel. And it's been described often as majestic, and I think that's pretty accurate.
Janine Edwards has more on this track, which right now can be described as wet.
Yes, wet and nasty, guys. Well, I can tell you that track superintendent Jerry Porcelli, who has been here at Belmont Park for many, many years, has had his hands full all spring here at Belmont Park because of the weather. The tremendous amount of rain here in the tri-state area has wreaked havoc on not only the turf course, but on the main track as well. And today it is really taking a beating. As you can see, it has interrupted the training schedules of many, many horses that are stabled here. Now, yesterday, the main track, of course, was fast for yesterday's Acorn Stakes. And the goal after yesterday's races was to grade the racetrack to about 4 inches deep all the way across. They harrowed it up good, and then they sealed it last night. The track was open this morning for training, only for about 3 hours, from about 5:15 to 8:15. And after the training this morning, when it wasn't raining yet, it didn't actually start raining until about 9:30 here. They harrowed it again, and then Jerry Porcelli did what he said was compressed it. Not only did he seal it, but he compressed it. And Jerry has a crew of about 30 guys on his track crew, 12 of them designated just for the main track, 13 for the turf course, and they've had their hands full for the grass races today as well. So they've been keeping quite busy, hoping to have a uniform, safe racing surface for all the races today, and especially for the Belmont Stakes later on. Kenny?
Randy, of what you've seen, how is it holding up? And a two-part question there. They always say it favors the front, but I've seen some of those closing from behind, just like in the last race that was so close.
Yeah, it's kind of tricky. I mean, it's a rule of thumb that a sloppy track favors speed horses, but depending on how the footing is, it can also work okay to horses coming from behind, especially if the jockeys can manage to keep them outside of the kickback where they can stay relatively dry. The track today, I think, is in pretty good shape because of what Janine said. They had a chance to roll it and pack it down. So while it's wet on top, there's some decent footing down underneath it where it's drier.
They're fairly expert at doing that at all these big-time tracks. All right, moving to funny side now, the key horse, the one who's been all over the map as far as media attention. You heard from Jack Knowlton a few times in just about every media outlet. The whole nation seems to be behind him because it's such a wonderful story. 6 men, penniless, begging in the streets, and they run across a horse in the field, abandoned, and then they pet him, and they all become one, and they go on to potentially win the Triple Crown. It's not as ludicrous as that, but it's close to it. Other than being castrated, things have gone quite well for Funny Side. The gelding has been draped in roses, then black-eyed Susans. But flowers don't last. It's the diverse bouquet of humans who surround him that complements him best. It begins with a group of small-timers who ended up going international. 6 friends from upstate New York who call themselves Sackatoga Stable. The name reflects the fact they graduated from Sackett's Harbor High School and went to the races at Saratoga. Or maybe it was the other way around. Does the man make the clothes, or do the clothes make the man? Who in the world made the clothes Gus Williams wears? But so what if they're loud? This improbable story is something to shout about. The ringleader, Jack Knowlton, does most of the talking.
Never, ever, ever in the world could any of us imagine something like this happening.
Barclay Tagg is the trainer. He's most comfortable around the barn, and a reluctant star. This is Barclay Tagg approaching the camera for another interview, with enthusiasm normally reserved for a tax audit.
I can't get my work done. I mean, I have other owners to attend. I've got about 15 calls I've got to make in there today, and I can't get to it because instead of everybody coming out there like 10:30, well, you guys wanted to come later, so, you know.
Because just wanted to talk to you.
Well, I know, but still, it takes the rest of my day.
He spends days and nights with her. That's assistant trainer and full-time companion Robin Smullen. She understands her man.
The reason he's in horses is because he chose to be with animals and deal with animals as opposed to people.
This is not why he's seen here chasing off another camera crew. It's that when there's work to be done, work will be done. A Triple Crown winning party, that'll be wild for sure.
We'll go have a quiet dinner somewhere.
The jockey Jose Santos may live it up a little more. He's already celebrating his good fortune to have come to America from Chile, to be able to sit on Funny Side, sit on top of the world.
You never know what's like when I bring you. It's like an American dream. I mean, for the owners, for the training, for the jockey. I never thought in my wild dreams and I want to be in this position.
Santos must be living right. Look at his wife. And unlike what the future holds for Funny Side, Santos has already bred successfully. The featured offspring this Triple Crown season is Jose Jr., whose tears of joy could make a fast track sloppy. Win or lose, there's so much to be grateful for. A bunch of old friends throw in a few thousand each, and take down the millionaires to whom a few thousand is couch cushion change. A trainer and his love are poised to share something special, but remain grounded by the fact that either way, there will be work to be done the day after the Belmont. A jockey and his family are on the greatest ride of their lives, but the greatest victory came already, when their loyalty to each other was strengthened when the Derby win was erroneously challenged. Then there's the horse. He's fairly important too. It was mentioned he's running with some missing parts. This means there will be none to follow. But the benefit to racing is that, should he win Saturday, the Triple Crown winner can be seen over and again in person with all those people. It is a great story, the whole group there, and I think he'd even get more backers if he'd stay like at 12-1, but now he's been down over bet 3-5.
Funny Side is the kind of horse that there's so many wonderful stories that it's hard not to get emotionally involved. You handicap the races, you know, and you decide who you like, and and who you don't like, but everybody's got to kind of be secretly rooting for Funny Side.
He's easily one of those where you vote with your passion and with your heart, even though on paper he still looks, I'm not knocking him at all, he still looks great. I just wonder if there's that big difference between Empire making him, but I think those odds are going to come back.
Right, very low.
He's had very good trips and wrongfully been criticized as though, you know, he lucked into them, but his speed is what got him into those positions.
Yeah, he has earned his good trips, as you'll see in the Kentucky Derby and the Preakness. He's the kind of horse that can leave the starting gate and can use that kind of speed to his advantage without burning himself up. And this is the Kentucky Derby, the run through the stretch the first time. Brancusi in front, Peace Rules to the outside, and there you see Funny Side outrunning the other horses behind him to secure a nice position close to the rail with Santos, where he stayed until the top of the stretch. And at that point, of course, Funny Side came out around horses and was able to go on and win. But it's this kind of trip that's described by handicappers as the perfect trip. Sitting third behind a speed duel, you know, saving ground and
let them punish each other.
Exactly, and it's the tactical speed of Funny Side that allows that to happen, and you saw that again in the Preakness. I was concerned, as was a lot of other people, that the outside post of Funny Side would hurt him. To his inside, there were like 4 horses going into the turn that could conceivably have held him out wide, but he was just better than they were. He outran them all. They're right behind him, lined up. He tucked in there on the turn, and at this point, I knew that Funny Side was probably going to win the race.
Absolutely. He just drifted right over into his space. It was like a hole was created for him, but he got to that point. He had enough left to pretty much walk away from that field.
Of course, you didn't know he would win like that. Peace Rules just didn't show up that day, but certainly the trips that he's gotten, he's earned.
Hank Goldberg has seen the same races. What's your opinion on all this?
Well, one thing we know about Funny Side, if he stays healthy, he's going to continue to run as a gelding. The owners are going to come into about $7 million if they're successful today. And I spoke with Jack Knowlton yesterday, and I asked him, are you going to increase the size of your stable? And he said, no, we'll stay a 4 or 5 horse stable. We're not looking to spend a lot of money on horses. We're just going to go back to being what we were. Good luck with that. It's a wonderful story. These are great people, the most unpretentious you can imagine. Guys,
I think the boat has sailed on having whatever former life they had. They're enjoying it all right now. Come back with some live racing 4 minutes away from a 6-furlong sprint. We'll come back to Belmont Park right after this. Welcome back to Belmont Park. For those of you not in Chile, a reminder then that complete Belmont coverage is found on NYRA.com, or New York Racing Association.com. All right, we got a horse race coming up. Close to post, 6 furlongs, 25th running, the True North Breeders' Cup handicap. 1 scratch in this race. The 4 is out. Here's Zealous. We got an entry, 1 and 1A, Highway Prospector and Pioneer Boy. State City getting a lot of support coming over from Dubai. And back in the field there we have Vodka and Shake You Down. 4-5 favorite is Shake You Down. All right, interesting one, State City. We've seen it happen before. The American horses go over to Dubai and they race, and then when they come back, it doesn't work out so well for them. Something about jet lag. This time, State City's just making the direct trip to the States.
Yeah, he's been here since April, so it shouldn't bother him too much. And here's something you don't see very much. Here's a horse coming off a win in the richest sprint race in the world, and he's not even the favorite in a stakes race here at Belmont Park in his very next start. He won the race called the Dubai Golden Shaheen, a $2 million race on March 29th. They had no betting in Dubai. If they did, he would have been a huge long shot. He's won 5 of his 7 starts at a mile or less, and of course this will be his first start in the U.S. And he's a horse that certainly deserves some credit, but still there are plenty of skeptics out there about it.
Janine's looking at the entry, a 1 and 1A, Highway Prospector and Pioneer Boy.
Well, I'll tell you, Pioneer Boy is coming off an impressive win at Pimlico in the mud, and here's a horse for the course. He is 4 for 4 on muddy racetracks. Jeremy Rose has been riding him in Maryland, but Rick Wilson picks up the mount today for John Robb, and you might recognize those familiar silks of Michael Gill, the leading owner in the country, and this horse has been working bullets since they claimed him for $30,000 4 starts back. He's won 3 of 4 races since then. Kenny?
Hank made the walk of shame to the ATM and is unloading on Shake You Down, the 4-5 favorite. Is that true?
that is true. He's the speed of the speed. I think he's faster than Pioneer Bay. They're going to have to catch him on a fast, sloppy track.
Gio Vanetti, the 3, has tremendous early speed. What was your stat, Randy? Like the last 4 half miles were all under 45 4 seconds.
He's averaged between 43-2 and 43-3 for the half mile in his last 5 starts. Now that's California speed, but I think he'll set the pace and Shake You Down will stalk him, and I agree with Hank that Shake You Down will win it. His races in the sloppy track have been unbelievable.
State City will win. They're in the gate. Tom Durkin, call it.
Ready for the start here. Bob Duncan barking out some orders in the starting gate. Bob Duncan, the starter here. Appears to be number 1A Pioneer Boy that's acting up a bit. Kind of hard to see through all the rain and clouds. There's our camera shot of it. Pioneer Boy's got his head cocked the wrong way. And they're off. Joe Vanetti comes firing right out of there. Shake you down away second on the outside. Pioneer Boy third. Then a break of 4 back to State City Vodka. And Highway Prospector trails the field. Shake you down and Joe Vanetti. And they're going at it in an all-out duel into the far turn. They're 3 lengths ahead of Pioneer Boy. Around the far turn, the quarter. Unbelievable. 21 2/5 seconds for the opening quarter. A sloppy track, and they are really moving along right over it. Shake you down on the outside. Joe Vanetti. They continue their head-to-head duel. They're 3 lengths ahead of Pioneer Boy. A break of another 3 back to State City. Buck on the far outside. Highway Prospector is launching a bit, and he's coming through on the rail. And the field turns for home. Shake you down a half and 44 flat. Now beginning to prevail over Joe Vanetti. But in the meantime, Highway Prospector is coming with a rousing late run at the rail. It's Shake You Down by 2. Highway Prospector closing in on him. 16th from home. Shake You Down softened up by that duel, but he's still in front. Highway Prospector, a last gasp, lunge up the line. Here it is. Shake You Down saved by the wire. Highway Prospector came roaring at him late, but was just a head short, and Vodka finished third. Wow, what a tremendous early turn of foot here for Shake You Down and Joe Vanetti. 21 2/5 seconds. The final time in the slop here was 1:09 and 2.
Fine call from Tom Durkin after the fine quality time we spent with him yesterday. One of the worst introductions to get him set up, but he stayed with the race. It was incredible, though, because usually you see 2 go at it, especially Shake You Down going far outside and having to go with those kind of numbers, losing some ground. Obviously the best in this race to be able to overcome that and still hang on the straight.
Yeah, and also to be able to overcome a half mile in 44 seconds flat on this kind of racetrack. An unbelievable display of speed by both horses, and the fact that Shake You Down was able to hang on and hold off a nice horse like Highway Prospector after those fractions just illustrates exactly how sharp this horse is right now. This is his 4th win in a row.
Mike Leslie's the winning jockey. He's out there on the track. Is he available now?
Yeah, he's here.
Only does interviews when on horseback, by the way, does Mike Leslie. Congratulations on the run. Did you think you could keep on going on like that? You guys were burning in the first half.
Man, he's a fast horse. And he got his favorite racetrack today, too. And he had enough to hold on.
Mike, go ahead.
I'm sorry, what was your thing? You got pushed a bit to the outside, even going with those fractions. It was just getting around that curve where you had to finally straighten out, where you had to fight him off and ridge yourself first.
Well, Ran, I rode a few races here at Belmont Park, and when it rains, the rail's not the best place to be, so I kind of put myself there.
That's exactly what I was going to ask you, Mike. As far as paths on the racetrack right now, sort of a preview for the Belmont coming up later, what's the best part of the track?
You're going to see it change a little bit, and you're going to see guys staying in the 4-path, 3-path, 4-path. That's the usual here.
Congratulations on the win, Mike Leslie, and Shake You Down taking the True North. We're coming right back to put this race official. Racing continues in advance of the 135th Belmont. Stay around. We got more live racing coming right back on ESPN.
This presentation of the National Thoroughbred Racing Association continues on ESPN.
Welcome back to Belmont. A reminder that at 7 o'clock Eastern tonight, when it's all said and done, we are going to review the Belmont, the 135th Belmont, the entire Triple Crown, and possibly be celebrating the 12th Triple Crown winner of all time. You can see all the Triple Crown races on ESPN.com through ESPN Motion. It's like having a TV set in your computer. Look, there was Sterling Sharp. He'll be in there sometimes. It's television on your computer. It's good fun. NBC, of course, holds the rights to the Belmont. Although Randy just suggested that we just refuse to leave and keep on showing races all day long. But I told him that'd be wrong. So at 5:30, NBC with the 135th Belmont Stakes. We did show you the True North. It has gone official. Shake You Down. Hank Goldberg selection. Didn't exactly take a great leap there. I mean, it was $3.70 coming back. But Ren, very, very fine race. Mike Leslie getting out there, speed duel, and had enough to hang on.
Shake You Down is trained by Scott Lake, and this could be the claim of the decade by Scott Lake, who claims a lot of horses. He claimed this one for $65,000 back on March the 12th here in New York at Aqueduct. And again, that's Shake You Down and the yellow silks on the outside there, putting away Giovanetti. Now, before that claim, Shake You Down had lost 7 of his last 8 races. And he was running against allowance horses, some claiming horses, whatever. Since that claim, he's 4 for 4. He's had Beyer speed figures in the racing form, if you're a speed figure guy.
And you are.
And I am. 118 twice, the highest speed figures of any horse this year in America at in sprint distances. And now Shake You Down has won 2 consecutive graded stakes in a row. So Scott Lake has really turned this horse around. Said he's put on a lot of weight since he claimed him, but not enough weight to slow him down.
Scott Lake is magic. 11th win in 30 starts now, $463,000 in earnings. So Gary Stevens is going to play like a villain today, or at least try to play a villain today when he tries to take down Funny Side aboard Scrimshaw. Played an old-time jockey in the movie Seabiscuit, which is coming out late next month. We're looking at that right now. Another one of our Seabiscuit vignettes.
Kind of small, isn't he? Gonna look a lot smaller in a second, Georgie.
Working with Gary Stevens has been exciting because he's a very naturally gifted actor.
Gary came up and asked me what I thought about possibly being in the movie, and I pretty much told him that I didn't have enough time and they didn't have enough money, and I walked off. I was kind of rude. Everything just kind of fell into place after that.
I was interested in casting him originally because he sort of looked like George Wolfe. He had the same kind of gleam and swagger that George Wolfe was reputed to have.
They encouraged me not to try and act, don't memorize lines. Then they'll just have us improv, and that's 9 times out of 10 what they wind up using. If you wrote a little more and started talking a little less, you might start winning some races.
Gary's doing an unbelievable job. He really is. Forget about his writing ability. His record speaks for itself. The way he's portraying the role of George Wolfe is outstanding.
Come on, let me buy you some tools. I'm fine, George. Go win yourself a race or something.
Your adrenaline is pumping before I do a scene. You're a little bit nervous about it. You don't want to screw up. This is the first thing I've done outside of riding races. It kind of gives me that exhilarating feeling that winning a big race gives me.
You should be able to use losing tote tickets for 50% off to get into that movie or something. Coming out late July. Gary Stevens looks believable in that.
And he looks pretty good on a horse, too.
And just yesterday, there was a gentleman in the stands who showed us the original program, 1938, Seabiscuit, and War Emerald.
And he was also autographed, I think, by one of the jockeys in that race. I'm not sure which one, but you got to hang on to that one.
Janine's talking movies as well right now, or something else? I think we have Janine with yet another interview. Let's go down to Janine Edwards now.
Well, I'm here with Senator Charles Schumer, who is from Brooklyn, and he, of course, is a New York senator, and you are here to present the trophy, and I saw you talking with Jack Knowlton, the owner of Funny Side. It's got to be extremely exciting for you and the state of New York.
We are all so excited. These are average folks, great New Yorkers from upstate, humble, modest people. And it's like winning the lottery, and they have stayed the decent and honorable people they are. So today there are 19 million New Yorkers, all for Funny Side. You know, I always wear my American flag, but right below it's my Funny Side button.
Where does all his appeal come from, do you think?
The appeal comes from that they're average folks. It's sort of like winning the lottery. You know, when someone wins the lottery, we're all happy for them. Well, we haven't won the trifecta yet, but we have won 2 out of 3, and the appeal is that this is an all-American story, you know, at a time when it takes so much money, really, to be in racing. These folks just did it by hard work, good luck, little prayer, and they're here. So it shows you anyone can win. It's great.
Well, we'll wish you the best of luck for the state of New York, of course, for racing, for the Triple Crown, as Funny Side goes for the quest. And, guys, not even rain here can dampen the spirits of the New Yorkers at Belmont Park.
Thank you. Pray for us.
The senator said we've won. I think he's used eminent domain and actually bought into the whole thing. We're coming back on a rainy day, but a day that could celebrate a Triple Crown champion here at Belmont Park. More live racing when we continue on ESPN. Welcome back to Belmont Park. A bit earlier, Michael Cavanaugh treated the crowd to this.
No, I want that Triple Crown for New York's Funny Side. I don't left them all behind. I'm in a New York state of mind.
Now, you heard he changed the lyrics just a little bit there, Randy. Obviously a Funny Side fan. He plays the lead in Moving Out on Broadway, and he's up for a Tony. Let's find out what the gamers think of this whole Belmont thing here as the tractors come out. They're farming now at Belmont. Well, Empire Maker, 6-5 morning line. We saw him at 4-1 a bit ago, and that's when you brought up the fact about it'll start changing, it'll slowly, but 7-2 is not a big change. I think they're starting to fall in line with about where they're going to be, but I'm shocked and dismayed at Supervisor at 11-1.
You are, and you should be. The morning line, I think, is very reflective of the relative chances that the horses have to win. In my opinion, it's almost a toss-up. Even money, 6-5, reflects that accurately, but the current betting odds do not reflect that. In my opinion, at this point, if they stay like this, Empire Maker would be a heck of a bet.
Yeah, we're only a few away. Randy, right now, Hank has some thoughts about Empire Maker as well.
Well, this is the rubber match between Empire Maker and Funny Side, and of course, Empire Maker won the first round right here in New York on an off track, and then they went to Kentucky, and there were problems. Foot problems, interruption in training for Empire Maker, but hey, not taking anything away from Funny Side, he wins it. So who wins round 3? Well, there's no lack of confidence among Bobby Frankel and Jerry Bailey, as we'll see.
Down to the finish, Empire Maker, just a little nudge at the line to hold off the late challenge from Funny Side. Empire Maker is giving it all. Funny Side trying to pull up the upset here. 12-1 coming down to the line, and the gutsy gelding Funny Side has won.
Much of the build-up to the Belmont is centered around Act 3 of the rivalry between Derby and Preakness winner Funny Side and Empire Maker, who has now been thrust in the role of spoiler. Despite Funny Side's decisive Derby win over Empire Maker, the connections of the beaten Derby favorite have been brimming with confidence in their colt.
You know, listen, I'm as confident in this horse right now as I was before the Derby. I won't say I was that confident on Tuesday, Derby week. You know, anytime things happen badly, such as the bruised foot, and then you miss training 2 or 3 days, it can't be all good. You know, you don't want to see anything go wrong. Fortunately, this week has been a good week. Leading up to this week has been good, so shouldn't be any excuses. I mean, he's training well up to the race, and I expect him to run really well.
I just think he's the best horse. Forget the breeding or anything. He's, you know, the mother's not running, the father's not running, he's running. He might be just a better horse than us, and he might beat us, but I'm pretty confident. I don't want to be like everybody else and tell you I'm going to win, and the horse just might be a better horse. Maybe he's improved too, but I don't think so.
Both Bobby Frankel and Jerry Bailey include their measured win over Funny Side in the Wood Memorial among the possible reasons for their disappointment in Louisville.
It is Empire Maker in front, still handwritten there by Jerry Bailey. Empire Maker is the leader. Funny Side running second.
I really believe in my heart he could have beaten by daylight. No doubt in my mind about that. That's the thing maybe we should have done. I'm sure Jerry's thinking about that too, you know?
Anybody questions whether I won in hand in the Wood is nuts.